What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We are going to continue getting you guys caught up with the Ferrari 412 build today. I've still got a lot of footage to catch you guys up on. A lot of progress has been made on this build. So if you guys watched our last video on the 412, you saw that we finished mounting the entire drivetrain system with the 6-speed manual transmission, as well as the Ferrari 812 engine, of course. Once we were done mounting the drivetrain in this car, we decided that the next major project we wanted to work on was the front suspension of the car and just kind of the front end, you know, where the radiator would be mounted, all that kind of stuff. One of the major changes we decided we were going to make to this car was to add a steering rack. Now, if you remember, the Ferrari 412 originally comes with a steering box setup that really is just not the kind of thing that we wanted to have in this car. Adding a rack was something is completely essential to designing this car. But before we could do that, we wanted to build the front frame area of the car where we would mount our custom radiator setup. So let's get into that now. Martin and Steve decided that we were actually going to be cutting this entire front frame section out of the 412. Not only for looks, we're not a big fan of this kind of asymmetrical look that it has here, but also just to build our own frame to mount the radiator system in this car, as well as the sway bar and the steering rack that we're adding and a lot of the other things that are going to be in the front area of this car. Build our own frame that we can mount onto properly and hopefully build something that looks better than what's there. After testing the fit with the front bumper, Martin realized that his front frame section that he had built would need a little bit of modification work to fit the front grille. He decided to change the design, as you can now see here, to make sure that the front grille would still fit. So with the front frame section now completed, it was time to start thinking about the radiator system in this car. Now, what we did naturally, of course, was look at the F12 and the 812 to see how Ferrari went about cooling this engine properly. So after talking about it for a while, Martin and Steve decided the best option to both maximize cooling surface area as well as having a cost-effective solution for us was to have a single radiator core that operated both the coolant and the oil. Martin then drew out a sketch of what he wanted to have in the car, and we sent it over to our friends at Bell Intercoolers, and they sent back a much more professional drawing of what we were going to be getting. And then we went ahead and ordered it.
Now that's a radiator.
So Martin's got the radiator kind of set in there for just to look at for now. Kind of start thinking about a plan on how to mount it properly, and It is big. It is definitely not going to be the easiest thing to mount, but make sure it happens. You can see up in there, it's going to be the trickiest part is kind of getting it mounted up in those corners. And some of that material will have to be cut out and replaced with new stuff to get mounts made, and I'm going to go ahead and do it.
So once the radiator was mounted, Martin and Steve wanted to worry about the coolant lines and the radiator fans as well. And Martin and Steve decided that the best thermostat to have in the car was the OEM Ferrari 812 Superfast thermostat. So I went ahead and ordered one from Italy. So while we waited for our brand new thermostat, Martin and Steve did work on the front suspension a bit. So you guys will see a steering rack in the car and a new mounting system for that. But I don't want to cover that in this video. That's all going to be in the next video. So let's get into the thermostat now. With the thermostat now mounted, we went ahead and ordered some aluminum tubing to make the actual radiator coolant lines. While we waited for those, Martin went ahead and started on the fan shroud and mounting our two high-performance Spall 12-inch fans. So this section of the cooling system is now done on the car. Of course, we will add hose clamps for the silicone couplers, as well as we're probably going to powder coat all of the aluminum tubing itself, as well as the actual thermostat mount. But overall, what do you guys think of the radiator system in this car? Did we make the right choice with the single core? Let us know. That's gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. As I mentioned, in the next video, we are gonna be covering the front suspension, adding a custom steering rack to the car. Can't wait to tell you guys all about that. It's one of my favorite parts of the build so far, and we'll see you guys then.